So Matt Colville announced that him and his studio, MCDM Production, are making their own game. And in the announcement video, he talked about used term cinematic and tactical for the game. And he said it would be like a heroic feel, not something that is dark and gritty. And he also used terms like tank and tactician to talk about some type of character in the game. So we know that Matt Colville is a 4E fan, a 4th edition fan. So I guess maybe there's gonna be like a lot of 4th edition in that project. He did mention that they want to start back from first principle and they don't want to be shackled by tradition. But I suspect that's gonna be closer to 4E maybe than 5th edition. And we know also that Matt Mercer hinted that him and his crew with the how they call Covington Press are working on their own project. They kind of say that, oh, it'd be cool if we had the right person, stuff like that, which usually like a sign that they are doing it but are not really to announce yet. But anyway, I think that could be very interesting to see. Not to see the game per se, because like it's very unlikely. I'm not very familiar with Mercer enough to make a guess of what kind of game he would produce, but it's very unlikely that what Matthew Colville would produce would be something that is in my taste. When he used the term heroic, I assume he's talking about a power fantasy, and I'm not into that at all. And also, I'm not a fan of Colville himself, him being a big male feminist and all, so that's not for me. That's no thank you. I'm gonna stay away. But what I find interesting with those announcements is the impact it could have on the 5th edition community. Wizard of the Coast tried to make D&D a lifestyle brand, and I think they did succeed to some extent with the Sparkle Troll crowd. They managed to convince those people that playing older game or playing indie games would make them bad people. Or maybe they would be allowed to play indie games if those games are made by the right type of people, which are non-straight white male, which both Matts, Mercer, and Colville are. And if they want to play like indie game by a straight white male, those guys would need to be very political and push the cultural Marxist agenda constantly. And that again, that's something that Colville and Mercer, as far as I know, are not doing. They do both push the leftist agenda, but they're a little more subtle about it, and that's often not enough for the woke crowd on Twitter. Like those are raving lunatics. So if you're not like constantly like ashing out about it, well, they're gonna turn on you sooner or later. But those two guys are very popular, and they're popular in the 5e crowd. So maybe they will be able to pull some Sparkle Trolls away from Wizard of the Coast. I don't know if a tactical game like what Colville proposed would be appealing to those people. You know, the new gamers are all about like telling their story, and remind me of the old infamous tweet from Mark Merles about oh, if you want rule complexity, you're trying to gatekeep women and minority away from the game, because I guess those people cannot deal with complex rule. You have to keep it simple for them. But anyway, maybe Colville, with his name recognition, will be able to pull some of those people away from WotC. You know, there's a bunch of guys that didn't have a father figure, and find that in Colville. And in the recent year, we've seen a lot of concentration in the hobby. 5e was a very popular edition, and a lot of people started releasing their products for this system. And there's a lot of people trying to put a spin on 5e, trying to make it do something it wasn't designed to do, but in a way that they can still call it 5e, so they can get more sale in that way. And I think it'd be good to see some more fragmentation. I like the idea of Colville going back to first principle, as you say, like going back from scratch, and designing something that is not a version or a new edition of something that already exists. And even if it ends up being similar to 4e, that's fine as well, because 4th edition has been vastly rejected as an edition of Dungeon & Dragon, as it should have been, because it wasn't Dungeon & Dragon, it was too different. But if it had been released as its own system, under its own name, well, it was a functional game. It wasn't to my taste, but some people did like it. And I guess if it would have been put out by a different company, with its own identity, it would probably still be supported today. It probably still like a player base. Well, 4th edition still does have a player base, but I guess if it was put out as its own thing, it might have been bigger. Might have been more popular. Might be still be supported today. Different people are looking for different things in this hobby, and that's all right. We have different games that offer different experience. Even awful game like the crap that Evil Hat put out. I'm not upset that it exists. You know, every player that chooses to play those games is a player I don't have to deal with because we don't have anything in common. We're not looking for the same thing. So having different space works for me. It's the whole good friends make a good neighbor. And that's something that the WOT crowd doesn't understand. They want to see every game they find problematic. They want to see them made unavailable. They don't understand that the people that would be interested in those games, well, if you take away those games, the people will go somewhere else. They're gonna, and then there's more chance that you're gonna clash with them. It's like this American foreign policy of like ruining country in the third world and then importing the people from the third world to America. It's not a sane policy. And it's the same approach that they have. Like they want to destroy every product they don't like instead of letting the people who enjoy them. See, like they could use those products as a containment space. You know, like, oh, you want to play men? All right, go play that and we'll play our crap on our side. Absent from this conversation so far, Cobalt Press and their Project Black Flag. The decision they made so far, they made themselves totally irrelevant already. Now that WotC decided to put out the 5e SRD on their Creative Commons, Cobalt Press decided to hitch their wagon back to the current edition of D&D. So why would anybody need them? Cobalt Press came out boldly, but now it seemed like they lost their balls. So I don't know why, if anybody really cares about Project Black Flag anymore. And with Colville, potentially Mercer, putting out their own system as well, that will really take out the wind out of Cobalt Press Black Flag. So I think the next 2 years will be an interesting time for the hobby. There's a new edition of D&D, of official D&D coming out. And now like some competing system by big name YouTubers that are being put out. There's also Clownfish TV that announced they're putting their own system, but they're not gathering to the 5e crowd, so I don't think it's going to rock the boat as much as Colville or Mercer. But, I welcome more system diversity in the hobby. I'm a big system guy. I'm more than lore. If you want to sell your game to me, tell me about the rules. Tell me what you're doing, what you're doing, what your rules are doing that is cool, Tell me how you solve those the issue that how we interact with the world in your game. That interested me more than just like the setting. I can play it in the same. I like fantasy settings that are low magic and stuff like that, and I'm always happy in there. But sorry, give me a different way to interact with the rules, with the world, via the rules, and now you're gonna get me excited. So that's what I want to talk about today. I also want to. I reached 200 subscribers today. I don't know if at the moment of watching I'm still be there. It's always like go ups and down a bit. But I want to talk. Thanks everybody that did subscribe, and thank you all for watching as well, even if you're not subscribed. And 200 subscribers, came faster than I thought it would. It was unexpected. I'm very glad of where it is. I hope you're gonna find something you like here. I hope we can keep growing this channel. I hope I can still bring some perspective that are interesting that you're not finding necessarily elsewhere. And about this whole conversation about system diversity, about those big name YouTubers bringing out new system, let me know what you think about all this. Let me know what you think in the insult section below here. So thank you very much for watching, and have a good day. I'll see you in the next video. And thank you for everybody that subscribed. I feel blessed, really. Thank you very much. Have a good day.